Good morning, everyone. My name's Hank Sutala. I'm the Sonic Shaman, and this video today is all about putting out the content that we tried to do during the Zoom call about a week ago, The Magic of Breath with Zane Curfman. And Zane got snowed in, and he wasn't able to get out of this place that had terrible internet. And so we went on with the Zoom, but the quality was so choppy that what we did is we had Zane do the entire thing again, this time offline, and I have it here to play for us. Now, let me, afterwards, I'll share a little bit about my experience with breath. But as you go through this, what I invite you to do is before the breath work starts, take 3 deep breaths. Take 3 deep breaths and then start to settle into the experience. And what you'll find is if you do something like that before a practice of meditation or breath work, you start to train your body to look at those 3 deep breaths as an anchor. This is one little trick that I did when I worked in banking and I had started to get meditation and breath work under my belt, is to pick something that when you start to do this work, you do something that is going to be your signal that when you don't have time to do a whole exercise, you can take 3 breaths and be right back to center. But what I like to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the recording for Zane. So this is pre-recorded what I'm about to share with you. But afterwards, I will be back on to answer any questions that you may have. And let me also mention that the people that were on the call, we started with, we had 40 people register. I cut the meeting off once we had 22 people because the more people that added on, it seemed like Zane's internet got worse. And out of that, only 4 people dropped off due to the bad audio. And of all the people who stayed on, all of them were reporting in the comments and when they were sharing that they still had an amazing experience. So let me just mention to you that your intention drives everything. You can get out of something whatever you'd like as long as you hold the space to receive it. Because all those people that came, they were ready, willing, and able to receive. And so I offer that to you to be in the space of receiving. And it's going to be about a 10 to 15 minute Zane talking and kind of giving an introduction to the work. And then he's going to slip right into the breath component. And then I'll be back to answer questions. So enjoy, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zane Curfman. I'm a soncista in the Afro-Caribbean tradition of Sanse. I am also a healer in the Pakokuna traditions of the Quechuan Indians and the Quero Indians. These are indigenous spiritual traditions that have survived since before the conquest in South America. The Quero Indians live high in the mountains above Cusco, Peru. And I am a curandero or a healer in several traditions throughout the Andes as well. Today we're going to be talking about the sacred art of breathing, and this is kind of an introduction to the breath work that we'll be doing during the 6-week Kausai Futui class, which Kausai Futui is Quechua for breath of life or sacred breath. And that's really what we'll be working with. In that 6 weeks, we're going to be working on developing ourselves spiritually through the sacred art of breathing. This is not unlike the masadas of the northern coastal tradition of Wachuma curanderismo. The biggest difference is in those traditions, they use San Pedro to create an altered state of being where you can receive the lessons, the teachings, and the information that you're being given in a more open and flowing way. For us, instead of using a mind-altering substance, we're going to use the ability of our breath to create altered states of being where we can learn those things that can be learned but not taught so much. These gifts that come directly from the spirit world. So within my own personal traditions, which are very dear to me, the Andean traditions and the tradition of Sanse, we have several ways of working with the breath. And when I first started teaching these traditions back in 2004, one of the first people I encountered was a man named Joe Fielder, who was a breath worker in rebirthing and another type of breath work, which is called vibration. And we really hit it off because in the Andes, we have these breathing techniques that are almost identical to these ones that were called in the West and found in the modern era, vibration and rebirthing back in the 70s. So we really hit it off and shared a lot of knowledge, and that really inspired me and really kind of turned me on to the potential of the breath itself. Since then, I've sat with Rinpoches, I've sat with medicine people from various indigenous traditions, and I've sat with priests from spiritual traditions, such as Hinduism and Tantra and yoga. And what I found is uniting all of them is this sacred art of breathing, this ability of our breath to center our consciousness and help us to step into altered or expanded states of awareness. In India, it's called pranayama. It's also in Kundalini breathing. In the Western world, it is in the Hermetic traditions, and we find it in the indigenous traditions of the Americas, of Africa, of Australia, and all throughout Asia. And what I found through all this research and through all the sharing with other people on the medicine path was that there are several different types of breathing that are almost universal. Not every tradition has all these types, but most traditions have a couple or a few of them. And the interesting thing is they're used for the same reason within each of these traditions. So that's what we're going to be exploring over the 6 weeks, is how just through breathing and opening ourselves and receiving certain wisdom teachings, and wisdom teachings are things that are very open to interpretation. You know, the spiritual knowledge is open to our personal interpretation, and it will always enliven us and bring us to a greater state of being. So over the 6 weeks, we'll be really focusing on how to use our breath to awaken us into awareness where we can directly experience these spiritual philosophies or spiritual understandings, where we can have a one-on-one direct experience. And that's what all the indigenous spiritual traditions wanted. They wanted us to have a one-on-one direct experience. It's not based in theology. It's not based in dogma. It's based on your eagerness to connect with the spiritual world and your openness to do so. We're going to be moving through that in the 6 weeks, but I wanted to just give a little bit of background about how breathing works. So many of us, especially in the modern world, we have a very stressful life. We're always trying to accomplish the next task, and we always seem to be on a deadline. In our world, it seems like we never have enough time, and this creates a stressful situation. On top of that, many of us have traumas in our past, or moments that weren't so pleasurable in our past that initiated the fight or flight sequence. And the fight or flight is something your body does when it perceives danger to get you out of that danger. And now in the modern world, we oftentimes trigger our fight or flight over job deadlines where there is no real immediate life or death situation going on. Well, the thing about fight or flight is if we're not able to either run or to fight our way out of the situation, this mechanism kind of gets stuck on, and it floods our system with adrenaline and cortisol. And these hormones are great for a burst of fast energy to get us out of a potential danger, but they're really not good for much else in our lives. In fact, they're damaging, and they damage a part of the brain called the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is the part of the brain that is responsible for us feeling like an experience is new, or seeing a new layer in our ordinary lives. And when that part of the brain becomes damaged from these stress hormones, we're not able to step fully into the spiritual experience. And even when we do step fully into it, we're not able to allow it to take us as deep as it possibly could. And that's because we're still functioning with these fight or flight chemicals within us. We're still kind of locked up, because once the fight or flight is initiated, like I said, it is hard for humans to disengage the fight or flight system. Many of the other systems in our bodies, like digestion, are feedback systems. Whatever we're receiving in triggers chemical reactions within us appropriate to that. But the fight or flight system is actually a feed forward system. It continues to operate until we have, in one way or another, convinced ourselves that we're safe and that we're okay. And there are certain ways through diet and certain ways through spiritual interventions to do this. And one of the ways is through breathing. And how breathing does this is by feeding the brain the fuel it needs the most. And that fuel is oxygen. When we breathe in and when we're doing conscious breathing, especially the breathing exercise that I'll be sharing with all of you in a few moments, when we're breathing in that way, we're supercharging our body with oxygen. And this is the life force. In the Andes, we call this calci. And calci means life force, but it means something much more than that. It actually is the metaphysical component that causes things to be alive. Sort of like an ethereal template that builds the material reality. So that is what calci means in the course calci futui. It's a sacred breathing, because the most essential or basic expression of life force is the breath. And it doesn't matter if you are looking at that from the perspective of the Andes that I was just speaking in, or the perspective of Western idealism or the modern Western approach. We still say we inspire, we take breath in, which means to bring in the spirit, and we expire, which means to release the spirit. So even in the language of English, we have this understanding that breath is related to life itself and to spirituality itself. So as we breathe consciously and we learn correct forms of breathing, we relax the body. By feeding the body the food it needs the most, oxygen, that actually sends ripples of relaxation throughout the body. It tells the body that it can relax. I mean, what's the first thing you do when you're really relaxed and you're feeling safe? Or you just got to a beautiful place in nature? You take a deep breath in, you breathe in and you just relax, and it's slow and effortless, and it supercharges your system with oxygen, and it makes, and it physiologically tells your system that you are safe. And this has an effect on the brain. This has an effect on triggering the higher centers of the brain. The anterior cingulate, which is the part of the brain that connects the limbic mammalian brain to the higher centers of the neocortex. And this part of the brain is responsible for us being able to tame those mammalian traits, those fighting for territory, fighting for our next meal, safety in numbers and in similarity. These are all parts of the limbic system of the brain to keep us safe. But when we are able to access those higher centers of the brain, we actually are able to see beyond just safety and see opportunities that are in front of us, spiritually, physically, in business, and every other way. And we're able to actually step out of that fear-based adrenaline cortisol cycle that we've been in, so that we can take advantage of those experiences or of those opportunities. So another thing that this does is it causes a release of different types of hormones, dopamine and serotonin, and the pineal gland has an ability to transform our serotonin into a chemical, dimethyltryptamine, which is often called DMT, and there's been a lot of research on it, the spirit molecule, they call it. And it's the main constituent in most of the indigenous plant medicines. It's the main visionary component of most of those medicines that people go to the Amazon and people go around the world to sit in medicine ceremonies so that they can break free of the confines of their mind and expand their awareness to allow a spiritual experience. Well, we can do that naturally with just our breath. We can actually, with our breath, and especially if we combine that with proper diet, we can start to produce an intrinsic or an indigenous form of these chemicals that is produced by our own brain, these bliss molecules. So we actually, by doing this breathing, we are feeding ourselves oxygen, which helps every system in our body. It creates relaxation. It helps us think better because it's the food that the brain needs, especially the higher brain. But it also helps us to step out of that adrenaline cortisol cycle and into these bliss molecules that help us have deep and meaningful spiritual experiences. So that's a little bit of how all this breathing works. Now, for the next 15 minutes or so, I'd like to share a little breath session with you. And we're going to do that as a way of introducing you to the awesome power and ability of breathing, how breathing can actually shift our awareness. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, whether you're sitting or lying, make sure you're sitting comfortably. A straight back chair is perfect meditation cushion, but you want your spine up and you want yourself a good base for breathing. So that you can breathe in comfortably without focusing and without creating cramps in your body. You want to actually open up the lungs, let the chest be broad and open so that you have the correct form for breathing. Now, the next part of it is this particular breath we're going to work with is the circular breath. So what that means is we're going to be bringing air in, and as we bring it in, we're going to allow it naturally come to its apex, and then we're going to relax on the exhale. So let's just try that for a moment. So we're going to breathe in deeply and just naturally relax and exhale as you get to the top. It's almost like a roller coaster. You go up, 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 and then you just release. There's no break in the in-breath and out-breath. The out-breath happens naturally and relaxed. And now let us start the second part of the circular breath, which is we're going to breathe in before all of the air is exhaled from our lungs. So we're not going to push on the exhale. We're not going to blow out. We're actually going to breathe out very relaxed. And just as we're coming toward the end of that out breath, we're going to breathe back in. So all of the focus is on the in breath, not the out breath. So we're focusing on bringing air in before all the air is out of our lungs. We breathe in and in until it gets to that natural place where we relax and exhale. So let's just try that for a few breaths here. Remembering that the emphasis or the focus is on the in-breath, pulling air in before you release all the air from your lungs. So we're just going to continue breathing this slow, full rate into a relaxed stomach, high into the chest, connecting your breath. And now you're just going to focus on relaxing your body on each exhale, relaxing more and more. Your body may tense a little bit on the inhale. That's where all tension should be, if there is any. But on the exhale, relax. And we're going to start breathing in and out the same orifice. So if you're breathing in your nose, breathe out your nose. If you're breathing in your mouth, breathe out your mouth. If your nose becomes dry or tingly and you need to move to your mouth, that's just fine. But as much as we can, we're going to try to focus on keeping the breath in and out the same orifice. Full, deep breaths. letting your breath come to that natural place where it wants to exhale, and then just letting it exhale as you relax, and then pulling in before all the exhale is complete. By breathing like this, you are supercharging your system with oxygen, with the food it needs. But all you have to do is breathe. Breathing in this way and focusing on your breath, you're going to start to feel the effects of energy moving throughout your system. Your fingertips may start to feel tingly. Your toes may feel tingly. The top of your head may start to tingle. You may feel bigger than life or expanded. Do not worry, this is just the effects of your own energy pushing through energy blocks. And allow whatever wants to happen to happen. If you suddenly feel like you need to yawn, yawn. If you find yourself drifting away, as soon as you have realized you've drifted away, come back to the breath. The focus is on the breath. Now we're just going to speed up the breath a little bit to a fast walking pace. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out, out, in, out, in, out. You shorten the breath by breathing in faster, by breathing in sooner before all the air is exhaled from your lungs. So now breathing like a fast walk, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Remember to relax on the exhale and connect the breaths. And now just take an inventory of your body, of your feelings, of your sensations in or around you. And notice the strongest sensation in your body. It might be your weight pushing down on your hips. It might be your feet on the floor, or your back laying on your bed or on the floor. Whatever that strongest sensation is, imagine the breath is breathing in through that place in your body. And now notice the subtle differences. Don't look for big differences, but notice in that sensation, that strongest sensation you have, notice any shifts or changes you feel within it. But all you have to do is breathe. Keeping it at that fast walking pace, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Remembering to relax and breathing in through your strongest sensation. Your strongest sensation may be a feeling of pain within your body. And you'll notice that just by focusing on bringing the breath in through that pain, that in a few breaths, that pain starts to shift and the focus might move somewhere else in your body. Allow your awareness to follow the strongest sensation in your body wherever it is. But all you have to do is breathe. Now we're going to speed up the breath once more to a speed of a jog. So breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Still noticing the strongest sensation in your body and imagining that you're breathing in through it. Realizing that these sensations are just energy blocks and that by breathing this way, you are actually dismantling or helping to break up that stagnant energy to bring in new life force. But all you have to do is breathe. Breathing in through the strongest sensation and allowing whatever wants to happen to happen. If you feel the need to yawn, to stretch, to cry, allow that to happen. And as soon as it has happened, move back into focusing on bringing the breath in through the strongest sensation in your body. Keeping the pace strong and even like a jog. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Know that just by breathing this way, you're becoming more alive. Your spirit is actually settling into your body and you are feeling the sensations of your spirit. But all you have to do is breathe. Remembering to relax on each exhale, relaxing more and more, breathing in through the strongest sensation, noticing the subtle changes, and breathe. You may notice that ideas and thoughts are running through your head, maybe memories that are not appropriate to this time right now, or fantasies of the future, a task you have to do. Allow all of that to just play like a radio station in the background that you're paying no attention to. Don't try to control your thoughts. Just lend them no energy. All you're doing is focusing on your sensation and your breath. You may have a solution to a problem that you've been trying to solve come through, or you may have a great inspiration. Lend it no attention. Pretend like it's someone else's life. It's just something playing in the background. All of your awareness is on the breath. And breathing in through the strongest sensation in or around your body. Keeping it strong, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Remembering to relax your face, your lips, your mouth, your jaw, your shoulders and neck. And now breathe majestically, slowing the breath down. Like when you reach an apex of a hill or a mountain. And you're breathing in the scenery. Breathe in all around you. This energy, this feeling that you are feeling, the sensation, it's your own spirit. It's your own spiritual energy. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid if your face or hands are going numb or feeling tingly or you feel energy all around you. It's your own energy. Say yes to your energy. Say yes to your expanded state of consciousness. Still breathing in a circular fashion, slowly into your stomach, into your chest, and relaxing on the exhale, breathing in before all the air is released. Breathing in, out, in, out. And whatever's happening right now, say yes to it. Feel the vibration of the word yes. You're breathing in yes through whatever you're feeling. Don't make anything wrong that you feel, any sensation that you're feeling. When you make it wrong, you're blocking a bit of your own vital essence. So whatever your body, whatever your soul is presenting to you at this moment, breathe in through it and say yes. Yes. Now we're going to speed back up to that walking pace, breathing in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, and keeping it steady. In, out, in, out, in, out. Still breathing in through the strongest sensation and saying yes to that sensation. Don't make it wrong. You may have memories of the past popping up or fantasies of the future. Pay them no attention. They are not important now. All that is important now is that you are breathing. And now we're going to speed that breath up to that jogging pace again. In, out, 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 in, out. And keep it steady, breathing in through the strongest sensation in your body. Saying yes to that strongest sensation in your body. Now we're going to speed up to a fast jog. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Keep it steady and keep it strong. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Relaxing your face, your jaw, your neck. Focusing on relaxing, breathing in through the strongest sensation and relaxing. Old traumas, old issues that are breaking apart. You're healing traumas and issues, but all you have to do is breathe in through the strongest sensation. Say yes to your breath. Say yes to the now. By focusing on the breath, you are introducing yourself to the infinite now, to being here now. Say yes to the now, not the memories of the past or the fantasies of the future. Now is the only thing that's real. Breathe in the awareness of your now. Make it right. Say yes to this moment and whatever you're feeling. Keep the breath strong. Keep it strong. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in. Say yes to your expansion. Say yes to your soul and spirit. Say yes to this moment of infinity that has never happened before and will never happen again. Now imagine if whatever you're feeling in this moment, in this now, imagine what it would be like to feel that 3% more, to feel it more pleasurable, more blissful by 3%. Imagine what that is and breathe that in through whatever you're feeling. Breathe in, enjoying yourself right now, 3% more. What would that feel like? Breathe in through that sensation. Keep the breath strong, keep it strong. And now let's move the breath up. Let's move it up a few more notches, up to a running pace. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Saying yes to this moment of now. Yes to your sensation of the now. Imagining what it would be like to enjoy this moment right now. 3% more and breathing in through that sensation. You're doing great. Relax your mouth, relax your nose, relax your shoulders and neck and your arms, but keep the pace. You're driving your own experience. If you'd like a more intense experience, breathe a little faster. If you'd like a gentler experience, breathe a little slower. You are the master of the now. Choose your now. Enjoying your now, 3% more. Breathe in through that sensation. And now, just for about 2 minutes, we're going to breathe just as hard and as fast as we can, trying to enjoy this moment 10% more. Breathing as fast as you can, relaxing your shoulders, your neck, your arm, your face. Breathing in through the strongest sensation, your experience of the now, and breathing in the feeling of bliss through the now. What would it be like to feel bliss right now? Keep the breath strong, keep it strong. You're pushing through traumas and limiting beliefs that have been haunting you, that have been shackling you to the past, to the constrictions of the past. Step outside of those constrictions. Say yes to your expansion. Enjoy your now even more. One more minute. Keep it strong. Keep the breath up. Almost there. 30 more seconds. Ten more seconds. Keep it strong. Really push. And breathing in majestically. Still keeping it circular, but fuller and stronger, and saying yes to your day, yes to your life, yes to your now. And slowing down a little more with each breath, relaxing more and more. You have pushed through much of the debris, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that have been holding you back in this moment. And now as you slow your breath down to the most comfortable rhythm for you, allow yourself just to float downstream. Hold on to nothing. You are now clear to receive messages from your higher self, from your spirit, from your spiritual guides. So just turning inwardly for a couple minutes and seeing if your higher self, your spiritual guides, your spirit has any message for you. Anything that you've been unable to hear in the past. Just allow it to happen. If it's going to happen, it will happen effortlessly. Allow it like you allow yourself to float downstream. Now, just allowing yourself to thank yourself for any information you've received. Thank yourself for taking a few moments out of your day to do this breath. Understanding that there are techniques, there are ways to live a more full life, a more authentic life, a more spirit-filled life. But oftentimes we won't find these ways in the organized religions of the world, in dogma, or in the art of making things wrong. We find them within practices that have been passed down through indigenous traditions the world over for generations. Remember, a new possibility is only a breath away. Noticing 3 things your body's in contact with, 3 sounds that you're hearing. Opening your eyes if they were shut and noticing 3 objects in the room around you. Thank you for embarking on this little breath practice. This is just one of the many breaths and one of the many workings we'll be doing in the breath program. They're not all this extreme. They're not all this strong, but we needed a strong breathing to initiate this, to help you get a taste for what was coming. Through the 6 weeks, we'll be developing our ability slowly. So it's be a more gentle ride. And there's many different breaths, or not all this circular breath, but this is one tool that I feel I can give you that after this, it can change your life. If you can just learn to notice those moments when you quit breathing. In day-to-day life, those are constrictions, and they're always related to imprints in your energy field. And those imprints were created by traumas. They're created by restrictions and limiting beliefs that we held to be true in the past. So when we notice these constrictions in our day-to-day life, when we notice that we've stopped breathing, if we just focus on taking a breath in, a breath out, doesn't matter how fast you breathe, whatever is comfortable and gets your attention onto the breath, and then onto the sensations you're feeling. And you'll notice that you'll start to work out those sensations. If it was a problem you were trying to solve and you were holding your breath, well, you're making yourself go unconscious because of the uncomfortability of solving that problem. So when you start to breathe again, you're bringing in new life force, new energy, and that brings in new possibilities, new potentials, new ideas, because you're feeding your brain the energy, the food that it needs the most. So I hope you all will join me on the 6-week program. It will be a deep dive into spiritual development. We're going to be developing our spiritual senses. We're going to learn how to feel our spirit, how to have that spiritual awareness in our day-to-day life, how to go on spiritual journeys, to meet with our guides and to receive guidance from our higher selves. All of this will be the focus of this 6-week course, which I'm very excited to present, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us there. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you kind of join in the middle, Zane is in a place right now where he didn't have the greatest internet. He got snowed in. So he pre-recorded that, and spent like 5 hours yesterday uploading it so I could play it for you today. I also posted in the link, or the comments rather, there is another class, or not class, but a live stream that we did with Dr. K and myself. If you want to go back to the Emergence of Being YouTube channel, I posted a link in the comments. Here we were interacting more with the viewers, and he was answering questions and different things that were coming to people's minds. And he did a shorter version of what you just experienced in that live stream. But if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to find out more about the 6-week class, that's at emergenceofbeing.com under experiences. I'll post a link now that I'm thinking about it. That's not a problem to post that. But we have a couple people that were just tuning in. Tina saying, "This is wonderful, Zane. Thank you so much." Valerie was saying, "My eyes are watering and twitching. Laugh out loud. My dogs are getting something out of this." And Valerie was also saying, "Thank you again." And really, the breath, this all came to be because one person in our class, we've been doing this 30-week, which has become like a 40-week apprenticeship program virtually. And somebody was getting a lot of value out of the breath work that was incorporated a little bit throughout the program. And they were starting to kind of look for more of that, and they started trading one-on-one with Zane. And I'm all about following the energy, and there were other people kind of talking about breath work, and I'm like, well, why don't we actually put together kind of more of a deep dive where we're just focusing on the breath? Because every class I've ever had with Zane, whether it was the apprenticeship program or American folk magic or whatnot, it always has had an element of breath. And one of my favorite healing teachers over at Lilydale, Barbara Sanson, and her talk to us when she first started to talk about her talk and healing, she said, "The breath is your first and last possession in this life, and it is your most important possession as a healer, because without the breath, you have nothing else. And it's the only tool that you always have." I used to work 10 years in finance, and I was doing risk and basically we would shut down people's credit lines and have to work with people when they were having financial stress. I worked through all of Hurricane Katrina, times like that, and I would get knocked off center very easily. But as I said at the beginning, pick something to anchor these experiences. Before every round of meditation, before any breath practice, I simply took 3 deep breaths and then settled into the experience. And now when I get knocked off center, I don't even have to do the whole exercise. 3 deep breaths, and I'm right back to center. So those are just little tools. This one video and an anchoring technique like that could start to shift everything in your reality. But does anyone have any questions as I grab the link? And as always, now I have this cool little thing called Linktree. So if you just go to eob.center at any point in time, it's going to have links to everything that we talk about in the streams, to all the social media. So it gives you, because I don't update the website with everything we talk about on the streams, but if we talked about a class or a resource for you to check out, you can always go to eob.center, and it's going to forward you to our link tree, and you can have it all there. But here is the actual link for the 6-week experience, and I'll put it up in the banner as well. And last thing too, if you haven't, well, I'm waiting to see if anybody does ask a question. This is the exact web link for the 6-week course on the Emergence of Being website. And Kausai Patui just means sacred breath or breath of life. Kausai is like the Kausai Pacha is the field of living energy in which everything is manifest, for those of you who like a little bit of shanamana with your breathing work. But any questions? Last call for questions if you have anything for me. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out for you and post it afterwards. Oh, and Zane is watching. He says, "You are very welcome to everyone." He's not live with me, but he is able to watch from where he's at. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention. Oh, if you got value out of this video, you could be a contribution to us. On the last Zoom call that we did have, we had people find us from Peru. We had a couple that were watching the Zoom call. And so if you have gotten value out of this, if you share the YouTube video or the Facebook feed, whatever you're called to, if there's one friend that you just know would really benefit from it, send them a message with the link. Because you never know, the person that you share it with might share it with the person that now spreads this to a whole nother area and pocket of people. So I invite you to be a contribution to the contagion of consciousness, and share this video, share this information, and help us create change in the world. So with that, I thank you all. If you have questions, put them in the comments and we can get back to me or Zane. And we wish you all the best, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in the 6-week class. Thank you so much.